These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? We're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
I'm all out of faith. This is how I feel. I'm cold and I am shamed, lying naked on the floor.
These two grown men had never seen The Simpsons. It's America's barley basket.
Welcome, everybody, to America's Barley Basket. I am your host, Nathan Folsebuck. Sitting next to me virtually is our host, Marlin Wells.
Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Marlin.
How are you?
Doing all right.
Yeah?
Gotten beverages. I don't know.
You beveraged up? You got drinks?
Yeah, I could have stood to do a topping off, but I think we'll make it. I'm a professional.
Yeah, I think you can do it.
Yeah, I just have to watch my hydration. I can't overindulge in water, but there's enough. I think I can make it for a 2-hour party.
It's that fine line you walk of staying hydrated, but also not wanting to spend the entire day in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like every 40 minutes. Whoop, gotta pee. I hate that.
I just wish we could make peeing in Gatorade jugs more socially acceptable.
I know you do. I know that's big on your list of social demands.
It would cut down on so much.
I fully expect you to take the catheter route without needing to.
Imagine the how much our efficiency as a species would go up if you were just sitting in your cubicle at work and you just hear the person next to you, the unmistakable sound of piss hitting plastic, and you don't even give a shit. Oh, Ronnie had to take a leak. That's all you would think. Just the same thing you would think if they got up to go use the restroom. Because you know what they're doing in there. Just because they're pissing on porcelain, that makes them better than us? No.
I mean, yes, it does. It's better societally.
I don't know, man.
Also, fuck your employer. Like, take those 5 minutes that it takes to go piss at a urinal rather than at your desk without ever taking one hand off the mouse, you know?
Oh, man. I'd have to take two hands off. When you're a sweatpant, man, there's a lot of elastic you got to hold back. You are asking for a piss mishap if you're just one-handed.
A piss hap, if you will.
Yeah. I've been there. I've flown too close to the bathroom sun and I've gotten burnt. Hey, I can do this no hands. I just shove the Gatorade jug up the leg of my basketball shorts. I got this.
Fucking pee-pee Icarus over here. Flew too close to the sun.
Yeah. Someone's going to be a daredevil trying to shit in a Gatorade jug. We don't need that. That's something I can't endorse.
No, all right, circus performer, settle down.
I think you should do your dirty biz in the bathroom like a big boy.
That's it's a bold stance to take. Nathan fully endorses pooping in a toilet.
A buddy of mine once took a shit in a milk jug at a classic rock fest out in broad daylight. That's a level of physical candor that I cannot like just a casually shit in it. That guy could shit everywhere. I know he took a shit down the middle of a yellow line on the highway one time. I wasn't there for it, but I was told the tale. Yeah.
Fuck?
Just laid a long turd right in the middle of a yellow strip on the highway.
Even if you cast aside the why and just look at logistics and physics, I don't.
Yeah, that's something.
Well, we're not 5 minutes in, and here's where we are.
We're shitting on highways.
I doubt this is what the people come here for, but.
If you do, there's probably far more graphic websites for people that are really into that kind of content. That I love you all so much, but that I can't go that far. Maybe once we get a Patreon, then we'll take your scatologic requests.
What is the Venn diagram of people who want to listen to podcasts about both The Simpsons and Nathan's bathroom adventures?
Exotic shitting.
Freestyle.
Hey, how much I got to send you on the old Venmo to take a shit in a Sunny D jar or jug?
It's the generation remix of Pooh. We'll look for that at the next X Games.
Yeah.
And kick out snowboarding. Nobody likes it anyway.
Yeah. It's a passing fad while competitive shitting will be here. But competitive shitting, it'd be more like figure skating. It would be like a judge thing. Like it's not like you can really score it, you know? Like
you're what,
you
looking
like
over and people are holding
dumps.
up 7.9, 8.1.
Yeah, what else could you do though? Like I mean, maybe you could like make it almost like that as a decathlon where they combine skiing and shooting.
The biathlon.
Biathlon, yeah. You could like combine like BMX bikes and taking shits, like just some well-trained athlete eating shit, dismounting a BMX bike so they can shit in a jar on top of a hill.
Oh, Christ.
These well-conditioned athletes. Oh,
man. I would love to find out who's the Michael Jordan of shitting in a jar.
You know, I want to hear what the fucking announcers would be like for that gig, because I'll give those guys credit. They could sell a lot. I don't know if they could sell like watching like the fucking weightlifting competition. Jesus, those guys got to fill a lot of air.
Yeah, there's a lot of standing in front of the bar chalking up for a long time.
Dennis from South Korea, he once lifted a lot of weights. He's hoping to lift a lot of weights again, because that's about it.
He's stepping up to the bar, as they all have.
Yeah. I believe he's going to lift it over his head, because that's apparently what they're trying to accomplish.
That's the goal here anyway. Oh, he has grabbed the bar, because they all have like long, elaborate setups. Like, I understand that everyone has it's like a free throw, you know, where everyone has their own thing that they do. Oh, and there's the smelling salts, and he's hoping not to drop his intestines out.
That's not what you want. I want to poop yourself inside out because you're trying to win an award.
Man, you ever watch any of those fucking just bonkers, like, weightlifting world record videos of, like, Eddie Hall or Hafthor Bjornsson, and watch those guys fucking heave fucking 1,600 pounds over their head or whatever it is?
Yeah.
Like, there's an Eddie Hall one where he, like, fucking near blacks out and, like, has, like, his eyes are bleeding afterwards, and it's like, Jesus Christ, buddy.
Ew. I don't need that.
Good on you. You lifted it, but at what price?
I just think that weightlifting is, ever since strongman competitions became a thing, it's tough to sell me on competitive weightlifting as an entertainment option. Like
it's like wrestling.
Exactly. Yeah. Like it's you can Greco-Roman wrestle, but there's another channel where there's a dude fucking jumping off the roof of a fucking school bus to fucking.
Yeah, I feel the same about like Olympic weightlifting versus strongman competitions. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh sure, like. This guy lifted 800 pounds in this super sterile, boring setting. Like, that's impressive. But this guy just flung a car full of people over his head in Morocco.
In front of a brightly lit casino.
Yeah, like I'd way rather watch that.
Yeah. There are a lot of Morocco-based strongman competitions.
Yeah, like I don't know who Metrics is, but they must have so much fucking money to send these guys to these exotic James Bond locations to put the Atlas stones on top of the pedestals.
Throwing kegs in the back of a fucking van.
Yeah. I love the strongman competitions. Like
I've not seen one in a minute, but I can appreciate them.
I used to always get stuck, or not always, but would occasionally get stuck, like working at a desk back in high school, and there was a TV, and that was in that era where that's what ESPN ran during the day was fucking World's Strongest Man, and that shit was so much fun to watch. Watch this big Danish motherfucker huck a log across the beach. Yeah, I'll watch that all day.
And that's part of ESPN's heritage that's gone now. Like, during the day they just either show reruns of SportsCenter or they just show live streams of radio sports hosts.
Oh, sure.
Or the talking head shows. Like, I fucking miss random ass daytime fucking programming on ESPN where they'd show those bullshit sports. Like, I miss the bullshit sports. Like,
yeah, I agree.
They used to have a block of sports game shows like in the mid to late 90s. Like, they have not attempted that in a long time.
Which I don't understand why. I'd watch a fucking sports game show, whether it's sports or sports knowledge. Like, give me a 2-hour block of guys just doing sports trivia. I'd watch that.
Yeah, they need to bring back ABC Wide World of Sports. Just no clue what it's going to be. Is it going to be ski jumping? Is it going to be fucking like teen fucking lacrosse? Like, we don't know what's going on.
Just off the wall stuff you've never heard of.
Yeah. Oh, Highlight.
Yeah, tell me how Highlight works.
Yeah.
That was always my favorite part of those, is every 20 minutes they would put up the general rules of whatever sport this is and have the play-by-play guy go through it, because you didn't know.
So that's what cricket is, huh?
I'll be damned. I still don't understand it. I've watched it all afternoon and don't have a clue.
Do you want to knock the sticks down? Who wants the sticks to be standing? Why are there sticks?
This is just dumb baseball.
Yeah, no shit. That's what they should call it. And maybe get some traction in America. Like,
apologies to our European listeners. We do have a fair amount in the UK and Ireland.
Or our India and Pakistani listeners. I believe they are both very big cricket countries.
Who doesn't love dumb baseball? We're big fans of dumb baseball.
And there's a lot of anti-baseball sentiment in America, so I think people would maybe get into it ironically, but maybe they learn to love it.
Yeah, maybe. We have some Simpsons to be talking today, Nathan.
Oh, yeah.
Ow, my cat just bit me for no fucking reason. Get out of here.
Oh, man.
All right, I'm back. We're doing episodes 19 through 23 of Season 7 today.
Goddamn right we are.
We're almost done with Season 7. We'll do the crossover next week. Yeah, we're almost done with The Simpsons. This is episode 30, which means we have watched 150 episodes, which is hell of a milestone. There's a lot of episodes of this show.
Fuck, that's nuts. Yeah, this is... In a normal show, this is a hell of a run. To make 7 seasons, and we're just getting started.
This has to be the most episodes of any given show I've watched.
Oh, interesting.
Because, I've never been one for 30-minute shows. Scrubs is probably the only other one that would come close to it, and I think The Simpsons has passed it by now.
But that's a good point. I've seen all of Seinfeld. That would be longer. I've probably seen enough episodes of Cheers and Married with Children, but fuck, that might be about it though. You might be onto something there.
Yeah, most of the shows that I am a super fan of are hour long, so even if they 10 or 13 episodes a season. Or
so much stuff too now on cable TV. They don't do the full beefy 23-minute or 23 episodes per season format. It's Always Sunny is like 8 episodes. It's not 20 odd episodes like this is.
And I guess maybe the only other one that might be it is Monday Night Raw. Because they're fucking 1,300 episodes in or something like that. And I haven't watched every one of them, but I've watched a fucking lot of them.
I've probably seen enough SNL that it would add up to more than 150.
Oh, sure. I bet by the end of this, though, Simpsons will stand atop all of them, if I were to guess. For me, anyway, certainly.
Well, I think at the end it stands above any show ever created. I don't think anything's topped The Simpsons for a narrative story. I mean, I guess technically wrestling is a narrative story.
That's the thing. I think if you were to ask Simpsons, wrestling counts as a narrative story.
Yeah. And one thing with wrestling, there is no off season, so there's no reruns. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No reruns, no weeks off. Episode number 19. The first of this batch is A Fish Called Selma. And right away, I make note that I have never seen A Fish Called Wanda. Have you?
Nor have I.
Okay, I should, because I'm a massive John Cleese fan. So you'd think that I would have.
I think it's John Cleese, Kevin Kline. That's a name you don't see much anymore.
Yeah, no kidding.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Silverado's Kevin Kline.
Yeah. Kevin Kline is one of the more interesting leading men of the last 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Because he was a legit movie star. I mean, he was never the biggest name, but he's the face on plenty of VHS and DVD boxes.
Mm-hmm.
He's the one dancing on the cover of In and Out.
Yeah. And to me, he always had a level of quirk to him. He would be the leading man in kind of an offbeat movie. Kevin Kline honestly strikes me as Diet Bill Murray. Great value
really?
Bill Murray is how I see Kevin Kline.
I see him more of a straight man, I guess. I don't even, yeah. I'm trying to think of what he's known. He's an interesting actor that he doesn't have those big definitive roles because he was never a movie. Has a Kevin Kline movie ever had a sequel? Is there something I'm forgetting?
I don't know.
There would have been if Wild Wild West would have been a hit.
Yes.
But it wasn't.
Buddy, I saw Wild Wild West in the movie theater.
Jim West, Desperado?
Yep, that's him. I won tickets to go see Wild Wild West on the radio and then went and saw it. It was, it's not great. It's not a great film.
I remember it having kind of a steampunk aesthetic that was kind of ahead of its time that way.
Yeah. There's a giant steampunk robot spider in that movie.
And now I'm just looking up what Kevin Kline's been up to.
I think maybe my mind thinking of Kevin Kline as discount Bill Murray is I think I could see Kevin Kline in any number of Wes Anderson films. He has Kevin Kline has a twee Royal Tenenbaums nature to him.
Yeah, I can see that. Funny that he never got that role, yeah.
Yeah, if you photocopied Kevin Kline's face over Bill Murray's on Life Aquatic, it would look the same, I think, or work just as well.
Kevin Kline won an Oscar for his role in A Fish Called Wanda.
Oh, I'll be damned.
There you go.
Boy, I love John Cleese. I should watch that movie, I think, is what I'm coming to.
In addition to your homework, your extra credit is to watch A Fish Called Wanda.
Mm-hmm. And Wild Wild West for no reason. My first note here for episode 19, A Fish Called Selma, is that we have not seen the chalkboard gag in a while. We don't see it this entire run or last week's entire run.
Very good point.
These episodes are so filled with jokes, they didn't have the time.
They're just so beefed up. I like the beginning of this, that it starts off, they're all in front of the TV. It's a movie for a rained out ball game presents. Yep. And that got me thinking, do you think, well, kind of 2 points. Does TBS even still show Atlanta Braves baseball, or is that a bygone era?
Oh, I don't know.
That was a staple for decades. That's
how they became America's baseball team.
Yeah, them and the Cubs, because WGN and the Cubs.
Turner had time to fill on his
and
fucking
he
channel.
owned the Braves, so it's fuck it. I own both of these. I'm making money both ways. But then my other thing was, when they have a rain out, do they still show either Three Stooges or Little Rascals? That was a big part of TV as a kid. If the Braves were getting rained out, they would just cut to in the middle of an episode of Three Stooges.
I think unless I'm 2 years in the past, I think TBS leaned pretty hard in their midday programming into huge blocks of Seinfeld or Family Guy. I think they leaned pretty hard into TBS knows comedy or something along those lines.
That's what made me think TBS is almost too big of an entity now to be interrupted by baseball.
Or if they did do baseball, I bet that's what they cover with a rain delay is, fucking
some
old episodes
popular
of Big
sitcom
Bang Theory.
Yeah, because I know back in the day, TBS did that because Ted Turner bought the rights to like RKO or maybe one of those other like forgotten old movie production companies. So he had just tons of rights. Well, he still has Turner Classic Movies, which I have Yahoo TV now or YouTube TV, and I'm really forgetting how fucking much I enjoy Turner Classic Movies. I've always heard too that like Ted Turner accepted the fact that Turner Classic Movies would kind of operate at a loss, but his whole thing was as long as it's not like bankrupting us, keep it going, because I love that this is a thing.
Yeah,
that you can still watch these movies pretty much commercial free.
Yeah, because who's going to advertise on this channel?
In the late aughts, early teens, Rob Zombie had a brief show on Turner Classic Movies.
Oh, I think you've mentioned that before, where he kind of hosted the show.
He'd find a random movie that was in their catalog, and he'd talk about it and show it. Yeah,
kind of Elvira style of him breaking in after commercials,
except with no attempts at humor or being edgy. It was just him in more casual wear, just telling you why this movie's cool.
It's Robert Zombie.
Yeah, exactly. Wearing sweatpants.
A fucking cut off Asia t-shirt.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
He's 5'6".
Oh, he's so small. I've met him and he's just little.
Yeah,
he
walked by me.
Short man.
And the last show of his I went to, he walked by me. He is a small man. Very fit for his age. Good for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Rob Zombie's going to be here for a good long time.
Last time I saw him, he was fucking 60 years old or pushing it. I think he's 56 and was tightrope walking the barricade at the front of the audience. I was like, you're out of your fucking mind, Robert. You're going to break a fucking hip.
You never did. I don't ever remember them hearing about him having substance abuse issues or drinking issues.
I've never heard a bad thing about him. I've never heard anything cancel worthy about Rob Zombie or anything like that. So
been married to the same woman for a long time.
Sherry Moon, who is great. I think he just keeps putting her in movies just to be look how hot my wife is. I think that's why she is in every Rob Zombie movie. Yeah.
And also, she's there. That's hey, want to be in a movie? Okay, whatever.
Save on some budget. Just put my wife in it. I always thought the same of whoever that director is who's married to Mila Jovovich, he's the director of the Resident Evil movies.
Yeah, they're like a package deal.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he directed Monster Hunter, her new video game movie. It's you just like video games and want to show off your hot wife. I think that's the only reason we made 11 of these Resident Evil movies.
I saw a commercial for that. I just want it to be good. I like when shit that has no reason to be good is good. Hey, fuck yeah. I'll watch a movie where someone kills giant-ass monsters for 90 minutes.
Yeah, and I love the Monster Hunter games, so I immediately was just that's Diablos, get him! I would watch that movie unironically.
Yeah. What the fuck was that horror movie franchise that ended up getting a movie or two?
That's not Resident Evil?
No, yeah, it's a spooky
Silent Hill.
Silent fucking Hill. I remember seeing that in the theater, and it was almost they had figured out the exact ratio of making sure something gnarly would happen right about when I'm about ready to give up on the movie. This is dumb. This is fucking. Oh fuck, that's cool.
Yeah, they lead you along just enough.
Did he just peel somebody? I didn't know you could peel a human.
I only ever saw the first movie of theirs and hated it. I was this was a fucking waste of time.
Some of the dialogue so piss poor, and the shame of it is, I think it's Rhoda Mitchell is her name or something like that. She's a great actress, but she just was given nothing to work with in that movie.
Sean Bean's in that movie for no reason.
Yeah, they cast it pretty well. It's just. Yeah, it's fucking... Rough stuff.
Yeah, and some of the Silent Hill games are good. They're a little pretentious from time to time, but like for the most part, I like the Silent Hill games. Well, that movie was a rough one. I pretty unironically like the Resident Evil movies because they just get so ridiculous in the back half, because I think there's 6 or 7.
That's wild. Yeah,
and everything after 2 is fucking bonkers.
I don't think I've ever seen one I didn't enjoy at least in some way.
Yeah, I like them. I think they're fun. They're big dumb popcorn movies. I think I rewatched the first 4 or 5 recently, and the first one where it's one of those now from that bygone era of 10 years ago where you watch it and you're like, oh right, 3D was big at this time, because every other shot is something slow motion coming at the camera.
Oh, was it? Yeah, that's definitely a franchise I think of that would take advantage of the 3D fucking phenomenon of the mid-aughts.
Yeah.
Oof, never, ever, ever a fan. Hated it. I could think of 2 movies that I didn't dislike it in.
I thought Avatar used it well. I fucking don't like Avatar at all. I think it's a horrible movie, but the 3D in that movie is very good. See,
despite its flaws, I still like fucking Avatar. I just like James Cameron action fight scenes. Like, they're fucking, just the scope of them, it's so fucking big. I'm there for it.
I felt about that one the same way I felt about, like, the Star Wars prequels at their most ridiculous. It's like, this is all so plastic and so fake. It just looks like people slamming action figures together.
Yeah, I can see that. But yeah, I dug it.
Yeah, but the 3D was good, so good on them for making that work.
I enjoyed the 3D in the movie Gravity, that like Sandra Bullock, George Clooney joint where they're like,
oh, I never saw that. Is that good?
Fuck, man, I loved it. I fucking loved it.
What the fuck are we talking about?
Not The Simpsons. That's for sure.
Okay, let's climb back on that horse. Woof. Troy McClure is... Marge refers to Troy McClure as being like Bing Crosby or JFK. Like, Marge puts Troy McClure in some like pantheon of 70s stars that I was kind of surprised by. I was kind of surprised that Troy McClure had a heyday. You know what I mean? Because it's like, we only ever see him as this washed up dude. So the idea of Marge being like, hell yeah, Troy McClure, kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, I never thought of him as that. That's funny that he ever reached those peaks, you know?
Yeah, I never... Because, yeah, we only ever see him in fucking newsreels and shit, and I guess it never really occurred to me that he's supposed to be not a small-time actor, but a washed-up actor.
Yeah.
And I don't think that ever occurred to me.
Yeah, it might also just been something they used as a plot point for this episode.
Sure,
like,
yeah, absolutely could have been that, too. Troy McClure needs glasses. They show him pinballing his way down the street in his car, crashing into shit. He needs glasses, so he goes to the DMV where Patty and Selma work, and Selma is smitten by Troy McClure and just rubber stamps his eye exam, even though he fails it pretty profoundly. Yeah. But she loves her some Troy McClure, and he pays her back by taking him out on a date. And we have... It's sprinkled out throughout this episode. We have a lot of rumors about Troy McClure's sexual proclivities. Yeah. And that maybe Troy McClure has sex with fish.
He's a pescatarian in a way that you don't think of being a pescatarian.
Yeah, that's not usually what pescatarian means, but it's a sexual pescatarian, I guess. I don't know what the word for having a fish kink would be, but I thought, oh, what a fun, one-off joke, but nope, they keep making it throughout this episode. And they keep showing that he has a huge fish tank in his bedroom, which lends credence to the whole thing. So they're out on a date, Selma and Troy, and the paparazzi catches them on the way out of the restaurant, and then it's Troy's agent, played by Jeff Goldblum, who I thought kind of phoned it in this performance, but you can definitely tell it's him, but he doesn't seem to quite be swinging for the fences like I'd want him to.
What a interesting career arc that guy has had. Mm-hmm. Kind of Bill Murray-ian in a way, but like Bill Murray was still kind of acting. Like Jeff Goldblum just seems to be himself in every role now, which is wonderful because he's such a fucking interesting cat. Like
he's such a delight. Like I'm kind of fine with him just playing himself. I could watch Jeff Goldblum just exist.
Yeah, kind of like Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken's just playing Christopher Walken nowadays, but
yeah, like he just is himself, and he's great. Like I'm a big fan of Jeff Goldblum just being Jeff Goldblum.
I think is it Jeff Goldblum? One of his first roles is as like a fucking like sexual predator rapist in one of the Death Wish movies, like Charles Bronson in the late 70s.
I have no idea.
Very unpleasant scene. Do not look it up.
I always forget Jeff Goldblum is older than you think he is.
Yeah, he's got to be pushing 70, I bet.
Like he's like in his mid to late 20s in Invasion of the Body Snatchers, which is from like 78.
Yep. Yeah, think of that. Yeah, he's not a kid in that movie at all. Yeah.
No, he was probably in his 40s in Jurassic Park, which is what which is what I know him for anyway.
Yeah.
But he calls up Troy and tells him what good work this is and how good this is for his career that he's dating someone because no press is bad press, and B, it shuts down these fish fucking rumors.
See, what's your thoughts? Do you think he is inserting himself into the fish, or are the fish being inserted into him?
I gotta say I think it's the second one, because I think they're making fun of Richard Gere here.
Fascinating. See, it's probably it's kind of like that yellow dress, blue dress thing. It's like, which do you picture when you hear somebody has a fish fucking fetish? Are they keystring the fish, or are they going in? I don't know how you go into a fish. That fish ain't walking away. It ain't swimming away. That fish is dead. You're killing a fish if you're fucking it. I mean, it ain't surviving a trip up your ass, I guess.
I don't know that the fish's well-being factors into it.
Yeah.
But like when I think like, especially at this time, 1996, like when they first started making the jokes about like, oh, he's kind of into this fish thing, I just assumed they were making a Richard Gere joke.
Oh, the timing of it makes sense. Was there ever the urban legend where you grew up that a local game warden tried to stop some fishermen from fishing out of season or not having license, and a scuffle ended up happening, and then the end of the scuffle was the game warden getting a frozen perch shoved up his ass?
No. What?
I've heard that from multiple people. Because everyone is, oh, no, that happened. That happened in my hometown. It's like, how many people have gotten fish shoved up their ass in the game warden industry? I'm pretty sure this is a tall tale.
Yeah, that doesn't... I've never once heard that.
Oh, yeah, it's a thing. Well, I mean, it's clearly an upper Midwest thing, because most places ice fishing isn't a thing.
I love that you were just, like... You sound like me when I brought up typewriters in school. Just like, that thing that all of us know and have experienced.
Game wardens, get fish up the ass,
how they do.
I just said, there's no way for that to end well, because imagine the fish going in. When it pulls out, all the spines on its fins.
They're all pointing the wrong way.
They're pointing the wrong way. Very wrong way.
Yeah, I don't...
And how would you back it in? It just seems like more... If you're looking for animals to shove up your ass, which don't... I'm going to say that,
First
don't.
Off, right, yeah.
I don't want you watching, Nat Geo for thinking about animals that can go up your butt. Enjoy them from a distance. You can daydream about it. I'm even going to let you go that far. Oh, man, that'd be pretty cool to shove that ferret up my ass. But don't do it. It doesn't want to be up there.
Listen, I know they're a burrowing creature, but that's not. It's not what they're.
You could trick them into think, but they're not going to want to be in there.
But that's no good either. Don't be tricking critters.
Man, someone out there right now in this big, beautiful world of ours is trimming the nails of a ferret.
Don't
tonight.
No, I refuse.
It's going up. It's going up that person's ass.
I refuse to believe there are any critter diddlers amongst us walking.
Oh,
the
no!
planet.
Listen to us. We have our. I mean, just on planet Earth.
Oh God. Jub is here. That's how I'm going to choose to grappling hook up out of this pit that we're in. We get to see Jub for the first time in a long fucking time.
Don't shove an iguana's tail up your butt. I know
damn
it's
it, Nathan.
tapered perfectly.
We had gotten out.
I want to remind the listeners.
Okay.
Please, I mean, it's sure, because then, you could like holler and scare it and it would run off and that would make the tail come out. So it works safety-wise.
Stop.
It's the animal to do it with, but just don't do it.
Giving ideas and strategiges on how to do this thing you don't. No, Nana.
Do it with an iguana's tail.
God damn
it.
The
iguana survives.
I'm going to cut all of this.
I think that would be unfortunate for our listeners because I think we're being a little educational here, but
I don't think so. Yes, educational, but in the wrong way. You're giving tips and tricks on how to bang lizards on our Simpsons podcast.
I mean, I think I'm trying to spin this.
This isn't you like being one of those good parents who's like, I don't care if you kids drink as long as you don't drive.
I think in a way
not
it
the
is.
Same thing.
Hey, I know it's the 90s.
Thing.
You're going to shove animals up your ass. Let's try to do it in a way that the animal can walk away from it. I know you think Richard Gere is cool and all.
Oh, God damn it.
You know who doesn't think Richard Gere is cool? Those poor goddamn gerbils. What a thing to find out that people are talking about. You're fucking in line at Burger King. All of a sudden, a shock jock radio guy is like, interesting tidbit in the news.
You open up your Variety newspaper that morning. Wait, I do what?
Oh my God. Yeah. What a life.
Holy shit. Troy McClure, with all this good press that he's getting thanks to dating Selma, gets a role in Planet of the Apes, the musical, which is pretty fantastic.
Yep.
This entire segment I really liked.
I get nothing out of the original Planet of the Apes. I strongly disliked the Mark Wahlberg remake, but
awful.
I loved that reboot from like 5-6 years ago.
It's very good. All of those movies, because there's what, 3 of those movies, and
I've seen the first 2, and I've heard the third one is very like. There were those kind of movies that the Rotten Tomatoes score is so good I don't believe it. Like what? It can't be. It was the same thing with the remakes or the sequels to Fast and the Furious. Like
yeah, also very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the new ones. Don't care for the old ones, the Charlton Heston ones.
Yeah, it's not my thing.
That Tim Burton one is real fucking bad. That Mark Wahlberg Tim Burton one.
Remember when Tim Burton made good movies? Like, what happened to him at the end of the fucking millennium?
I don't know what happened to Tim Burton. Remember the good Tim Burton times, the Batmans and the Edward Scissorhandses?
Fuck Ed. Pee-wee's Big Adventure, top 5 comedy for me. I fucking love that movie.
Pee-wee's fucking great. Yeah.
He did. Big Fish is probably like 2001, so I guess technically he made one good movie.
That was probably the last one.
Fuck yeah, he's going on 20 years of blah movies.
Yeah. I haven't cared for Tim Burton's work in some time, sadly.
Yeah.
What I do care for is the parody cover of Falco's "Rock Me Amadeus" that they do in this Planet of the Apes musical.
Yeah, so ridiculous. Is it Dr. Zaius?
Yeah. I love Rock Me Amadeus, and am happy to see it anytime it shows up.
It is an interesting song. The 80s were an interesting time. Imagine trying to sell that as a pop hit now. They would look at you like there's fucking like, oh, you must have had a bad bike accident on the way here because that's a fucking terrible idea. We're going to call somebody to get you to the hospital.
Someone drive this man to the ER, please.
Yeah, because he's thinking that a 45-year-old man, German man, saying Rock Me Amadeus over and over again is top 40 gold.
And it was.
Yeah, I miss the times when you could be not necessarily unfuckable, but just not overly fuckable and have hits on the radio.
And still be a huge radio star, yeah.
Yeah.
I really like my second favorite thing about Rock Me Amadeus is when Tech Nine used that beat in I'm a Playa, which is also a fucking great song.
Tech Nine has had a weird career. Like, it kind of had like a renaissance because Tech Nine's been around, man. Tech Nine was around when I was in high school. He kind of maybe got a little bit like rode the kind of juggalo wave. I mean, I don't think he directly associated with them, but I think that there's overlap in the fans.
There for sure is, because he ran with like Strange Noise for a while with like Cottonmouth Kings and those guys.
Yep.
Like he was on that label. And then like fairly recently, like within the last few years anyway, like his songs, he does like conscientious rapping now, which there's some of his songs from the past few years that are really good. Motherfucking Corey Taylor from Slipknot sings on one of his songs from a couple years back. Man's had an interesting career.
No kidding, yeah.
Oh man, speaking of rappers with interesting careers, fucking pour one out for MF Doom.
Yeah.
Man, that was sad news the other day. Woof.
Yeah. And how cool is it that he was able to like hide his death in today's day and age for 2 fucking months?
It is arguably the most MF Doom thing.
Exactly. And just to avoid the spotlight like he did, like how little was, I love that kind of shit.
When I first moved out here in the early 2000s, like one of the first like quote unquote new rappers or modern rappers at the time, because at that time I was still stuck in the 90s. I was still listening to Coolio and Tupac and all that. So like in the mid 2000s, the first thing I latched onto in hip hop that I found that I really fucking liked and was modern at the time was the Danger Doom album that he did with Danger Mouse.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
so fucking good and still is. So I have followed MF Doom for like 15 years now. So that was sad news.
Yeah, that work he did with like the Adult Swim, like
all the Adult Swim shit he did.
Yeah, Mad Villainy, so fucking good.
The stuff he did with Gorillaz is so fucking good. Like, man, that was a rough one. But yeah, seeing that the people around him somehow managed to keep his death a secret for 2 entire months.
Yeah,
in today's day and age is outstanding.
Yeah, and was he sick? Like, I guess he probably kept it all hidden, so no one really knows. Like,
yeah, I never read into
seems like a young guy to be keeling over, but
yeah, I just saw like the statement that his family put out. I'm not one to like dig into like how and why. It's like no, just I'll accept whatever the family tells me. But man, what a bummer. Troy McClure is gonna marry Selma, and he tells. Him and Homer are drinking at Moe's one night, and he gives Homer a little secret, and then we learn after that the marriage is just a sham, all to help his career, which is a surprise to none of us.
Yep. Selma can never really find love. She struggles. Oh, there's a great scene when they're on a date at the drive-in, and like they're ashing into I think they're both smoking cigars, and they're ashing into the car's ashtray. That made me think, when did they stop putting fucking ashtrays in cars? I looked it up. Chrysler, like Dodge Chrysler, started it in 94. Was the first car to phase out ashtrays, and it was just dominoes after that. Like by the early aughts even, you could still special order them, but they were pretty much gone.
Like it was an option, the way like
Yep.
anti-lock brakes or power windows would
exactly. You can, to this day, you can buy a smoker's option on brand new Bentleys. So if
be.
you want to start
with what, a
fucking,
lighter and an ashtray?
yep, you want to start puffing fucking heaters in your $500,000, start fucking smoking some USA Golds, destroy the interior. They will allow you to. Like, remember as a kid when there would be ashtrays in the little ashtrays in the doors in the back seats of cars?
Yep,
like
or in the back seat.
The back seat, it would fold out. Yep, a little ashtray that would fold out in the back, just so everyone can smoke. So four
The whole
fucking
family.
people can smoke in a car. Jesus Christ. Yeah, the ashtray built into the back of the seat, man. Yeah.
There were growing up, we only owned one tractor that had a cab on it, but that one had an ashtray in the armrest. Like you couldn't get away from an ashtray in certain times.
Yeah, puffing fucking heaters, way of life.
People paying for the smoker's package in the $500,000 Bentley, that has to be mostly for smoking weed, I assume.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't
think anyone is cigarette smoking up their Bentley.
Yeah.
I like to think someone is though.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see someone pulling into a fucking stop and go in a Bentley and buying a pack of fucking shit cigarettes and just fucking rolling them windows up and just fucking puffing away.
Just hotboxing in their Bentley.
Yeah, just some horseshit fucking gross cigarettes too.
Some fucking Dorals.
Yeah. Well, I usually go with Marlboro Lights, but Basic was on sale.
Selma confronts Troy about whether or not this whole sham wedding is real, and he explains that yes, it is. Pretty forthright about it. And she has some misgivings, but eventually just goes with it. She's like, okay. And so they're putting on this front for everyone, and it's doing great work for his career. He's up to play the sidekick in the new McBain film. The agent's loving it because more money's rolling in. But the thing they need to do, the agent explains, to really put him up over the top is to have a child. And Selma initially thinks she can go along with this, but then eventually decides not to. And the awkwardness of their almost baby-making session was palpable. Holy shit, was I
so
laughing.
Good. Yeah, that was one of the better moments.
Him standing in the doorway of the bathroom in that robe, just like doing bad tiger sounds. Like, holy fuck, I was dying.
Just trying to imagine her as a trout.
I don't know that tigers eat trout. I think you're thinking
Oh, no,
of
I meant
bears.
like, because that's what he would want to fuck.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No,
He's
okay.
a man of certain tastes.
You got me.
Urges.
Selma explains that being in a loveless marriage for a show is one thing, but bringing a child into it is a bridge too far for her, and she grabs up Jub and bails.
I like when he mentions that they can have everything they need, like a big, hot, flat rock for Jub.
Yep.
Yeah, that was an enjoyable episode.
Yep, I like that one. It's fun to see. I always think it's fun to see like a whole episode based around a pretty minor character.
Yeah, and in this case, two pretty minor characters. We get a real deep dive into Troy McClure as well.
Yeah, he's the one I meant. I was kind of discounting Selma, but yeah, I like to see him build mountains out of molehills on real background characters.
Yeah. So episode 20,
I
believe. Bart on the road. The kind of begins with the premise of it's go to work with your parents' day, and Bart, ever the con man that he is able to get it. So he gets to go to work with Marge which means he just lays on the couch.
Yep, in his PJs, watching TV.
Pouring milk straight into the cereal box, which is, I think, a power move that needs to be applauded.
I am not going to lie. I thought of you right away. I have written down, Nate, have you ever tried putting the milk in the box?
I'm such a cereal weirdo. I wouldn't have enough control over it. I am an exact amount of milk guy. Like, I don't want to waste milk, but I want there to be enough that every piece of the cereal can be dunked. I don't want a dry chunk of cereal in my mouth. It all has to be moistened by milk.
Do you consider yourself to be like kind of a heavy milk person? Do you think you put more milk in than the average person?
No, I don't think so. I think I get just the right amount for my needs.
I think that I probably put a little more milk in than most people do. I like a pretty heavy milk ratio.
I'll put such little amounts in. Sometimes I'll tilt the bowl so I can get the milk to well up in one part. So then I can do an optimal dunking of all the cereal bits.
Oh, not me, man. I'll fill a bowl half with cereal and then have it so full of milk that I am spilling cereal. I like a good chug after the bowl.
Or sometimes you got to do that sip from the edge of it because it's not manageable.
How am I going to get this to the living room?
Yeah.
Cartoons
How am I supposed to drive a car and eat this?
Yeah, I am. I like a lot of milk in my cereal. I also don't like dry cereal. So
yeah, I can't do that. Yeah, everything has to be wet.
Especially if it's something kind of savage, like a Captain Crunch or a shredded wheat, something that's really gonna fuck me up. I need it softened.
Fiberglass if you don't get it wet.
Yeah,
man, I'll fuck up a bowl of Captain Crunch. Underrated cereal.
I prefer a Crunch Berry.
Not me.
Yeah, I'm not one for just diesel Captain Crunch.
Yeah, I'm actually only diesel. I dislike Crunch Berries.
Wow.
Ain't that something?
How do you feel about peanut butter Captain Crunch? I know it's a totally different thing.
I don't know if I've ever had it.
Oh, it's great. It's like if you put peanut butter powder all over some Kix.
Okay, I could see enjoying that.
It's good. I'm a big fan. I think Crunch Berries, though, the star of the lineup. I'm not in for oops all Crunch Berries. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I don't like fruit cereal. I don't like Fruit Loops or Fruity Pebbles or.
Oh no shit! See,
like that.
I am very take it or leave it with Fruit Loops, or Tricks for that matter. For me, it goes by far. First place is Fruity Pebbles. I will fucking live off the Fruity and Cocoa Pebbles franchises because they're so fucking good. But it's Fruity Pebbles by a mile, then Tricks, then Fruit Loops.
I don't want any of them anywhere in my life.
No shit, that's bad. Like, I won't say no to any of them, but I will say fuck yes, give me some to Fruity Pebbles.
I'll do Cocoa Pebbles all day. I like chocolate cereal, but not fruit cereal.
So yeah, and I'm the same way. I will fuck with a bowl of Cocoa Puffs, but I'd much rather have Cocoa Pebbles.
Huh. Well, to each their own. Takes all sorts.
There's another cereal brand that has and it's not one of the knockoff generic multi-meal types. It's like a name brand. They have their own version of is it Cocoa Smacks? Is that it? There's
Smacks is a thing. I don't know about Cocoa Smacks.
There's another
Cocoa
chocolate.
Crisp.
Maybe Cocoa Crisp is it then, yeah.
I think I remember Cocoa Crisp being like Cocoa Pebbles.
Oh, Cocoa Pebbles. That's what I mean. Yeah, I bet Cocoa Crisp and Cocoa
it's like
Pebbles
chocolate Rice Krispies, yeah.
Yep, exactly, yeah.
Cocoa Crisp, also the name of a baseball player, which I always loved.
Yeah,
I always thought that was
very
great.
Good point. Yep.
Like, man, if your last name
is playing not that long ago.
If your last name is Crisp and your parents name you Coco, they have a great sense of humor.
They're either pricks or they're real cool. They're real fun. Hey, man, and I not in part of the same family, but man, I love a good bowl of Lucky Charms too.
No, I don't like any. I don't like any cereal with marshmallows in them.
Oh, see, if they get the ratio right of like non-sweet stuff with the sweet stuff, I'm a big fan.
No, if there's something about the texture of those dehydrated marshmallows, it's like biting styrofoam. I just got to chill up my spine thinking about it. The way
No shit, really.
the way nails on the chalkboard gives you the same feeling. That's what I feel about Lucky Charms.
Yeah, like if I'm not paying attention, I get like a spoonful of just the marshmallows. Yeah, not a fan. But
No, not a fan.
What the crunchy parts with? Oh yeah, delish.
See, I also don't think the crunchy parts in Lucky Charms is any good either. That seems like
no kidding.
the most bottom of the barrel fucking ground cardboard that they use for those bits. Not a fan. Mostly a Cocoa Puffs guy. I also like boring cereal. I like Kix and Honey Bunches of Oats.
Yeah, Honey Bunches of Oats with almonds is my favorite cereal.
Yeah, just a real basic bitch when it comes to cereal. I
don't fuck with Kix. I won't go out of my way.
I like a brown sugar Quaker oatmeal squares. That's what I'm really into.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I can. Yeah, I like Frosted Mini Wheats for a more bland cereal.
Sure.
I like Alphabets. It's kind of underrated. You don't see it a whole lot. But I'm an Alphabets guy.
That's also a marshmallow thing, isn't it?
No, it's basically Lucky Charms bits with sugar on it.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of, or Corn Pops. I remember my brother was a big Corn Pops guy.
My old man was a Corn Pops guy.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't think I've ever seen my dad eat a bowl of cereal. I don't think I've ever seen my dad eat before noon. That's coffee and Marlboro Light time.
I thought you were about to say I've never seen my dad eat, like he's some android.
He always go to the garage. He thought it showed a weakness.
I don't need to recharge after sleep. I'm not some asshole.
Hide behind the tree line, eat fucking a bowl of hot dish. What are you doing? Not eating.
Oh,
That's for sure.
Your body needs fuel. You're no son of mine.
Yeah. Just grimace some more. That'll power you.
We were mostly a real breakfast family. We were mostly a bacon and eggs, pancakes, kind of hot breakfast family.
That was a very rare treat in our house.
See, cereal was the treat in my house.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we get to have cereal today?
Pretty much as soon as we were upright enough to be able to reach the silverware drawer, we were in charge of our own breakfast destiny.
You were on your own.
Yeah. The one thing, my mom went to work before we went to school, so. And again, my dad's like, well, there's the coffee. There's more if you want to start drinking that.
Good luck.
You can finish off that pot. But I remember just either a bowl of cold cereal or just like peanut butter toast or something like.
That sounds like me today. Like I went the opposite way. Now that's most of my meals is peanut butter toast,
fucking
or
peanut butter
just
toast
peanut
is so
butter.
good. God, yeah. Peanut butter jelly on white bread toast. God damn, that's a treat. Mm-hmm. You know what else is a treat? The Simpsons. So Lisa is complaining, but that Bart gets to just hang out with Marge and not do shit all day. And she's able to convince Marge it'd be a better idea if he went and hung out with Patty and Selma at the DMV. Just a very good move on her part, because I cannot imagine how fucking boring that would be to be a young boy and hang out at the fucking DMV. And it proves to be cripplingly boring.
Yeah, bad as you thought it would be.
But Bart, because he always has his juvenile delinquent antenna up, sees an opportunity when the driver's license machine is left unattended, and he makes himself a fake ID, which I think it says he's 25 on it, which is great.
Yeah, a 10-year-old passing as 25.
Yeah. So it's kind of a motley crew. It's him, Milhouse, Nelson, and Martin.
Yeah.
All meet up together, and they're gonna like, oh man, like what could we do with this? There's that great thing too, where Martin goes to the Wii World. He goes to Wii World, and he buys that little Scotty remote controlled dog. Such a Martin toy to buy.
That like winds up and does a backflip, and it has like a fucking plaid sweater on.
Yeah,
like, just the worst
Scotty.
toy for a kid.
Yeah. I do like when they're thinking of all the different things they could do. I think it's Nelson that shouts out, "We could rent a carpet shampooer," which is so great. And while all this is going on, Lisa's hanging out with Homer, and it's positively delightful how much fucking fun they have.
These two.
Yeah. So they're just having the time of their life, playing astronaut, playing truth or dare, just having the time of their lives.
God, when Homer's there shoveling donuts into his face and Lisa's like, "Do you have any fruit?" And he holds up a jelly donut and goes, "This one has purple in it. Purple's a fruit."
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, that's capturing Homer at like his most like fun-loving, dim-witted best. Like,
yeah, and like good dumb dad. You know,
Yep.
this is a good dad Homer episode.
Mm-hmm, definitely, yeah. And while they're bonding as daughter and father, Bart has rented a car. And the four of them are on the road. We get to hear Radar Love, one of my more favorite underrated classic rock jams.
That's one that, like, once a year, I can take Radar Love. If I hear Radar Love twice in the same year, I'm done.
Yeah. you just mark it off on the calendar. Okay, I guess I'll hear it this June, and then I'm good till the new year.
Yeah, I always confuse it with, what's the fucking, there's a different, I always confuse it with Ballroom Blitz for no reason.
Oh, I can see they kind of have the same rhythm.
And I don't like Ballroom Blitz at all. So, like, when I was watching this episode, as soon as I heard, like, the opening notes, I'm like, oh, god damn. Oh, no, wait, this is the one I like. Okay.
I do like that they all have to give different excuses as to why they're going to be gone for a few days. Isn't Bart something to do with, like, is it vocabulary or?
It's the grammar rodeo.
The grammar rodeo.
The National Grammar Rodeo in Canada.
Yeah. And then I like how Nelson's just like, yeah, I'm going to be gone.
Yeah. I'm going to be gone for a week, and just leaves.
I do like we get to see Martin's mom and dad. That's a rare glimpse into Martin's parents.
Yeah, we don't see Martin's home life very often, or ever.
And they finally, after discussing going back and forth what they should do, they decide they're going to go to the World's Fair in Knoxville.
Yeah.
They are all excited about that. Then they get there to only realize that the Knoxville Fair was fucking 14 years prior, because it's an outdated guidebook that Milhouse is looking at. And they end up getting their car crushed by a giant globe, and they are really fucked.
Yeah, they are stranded. On the way there, maybe my favorite moment from this whole show, on the way there, Nelson insists they stop and see an Andy Williams show in Branson.
Oh, yep.
And he just loves it. All the rest of the kids hating it the whole time.
Yeah.
I like Nelson being a huge Andy Williams fan.
Yeah. I didn't think he'd play Moon River, and then he did. Just at the end of his seat, starstruck. The rest of them are just half asleep.
Yeah, hating it.
And then after the car is destroyed, they decide that the way to get back would be to become a courier. It involves Bart lugging around a box that just says human eyes on it.
Yeah, in Hong Kong. They send him to Hong Kong with a box of human eyes. Yeah, the courier idea is just like, what? You just sign up to be a courier and hope someone from Springfield orders something?
And then eventually Lisa finds out about Bart's plight, and working with Homer, they get some random-ass equipment for the power plant sent from Knoxville to Springfield, and the boys hide in the crate, and that's how they're able to make it back home.
Yeah. I love that like he's because it's his big work console, and he calls to order one, and they're like, well, I'm seeing here that yours is working fine, and he just dumps a can of soda all over it.
Like the guy's reaction on the phone, like, oh dear God.
Oh God, you're operating without that console. Like, this is clearly real bad.
Very, very dangerous. Yeah.
I love that when Lisa first tells Homer about what Bart has done, Homer just goes over to the hazmat suit and puts the helmet on and just screams for a while. So good. And then takes it off and is like, okay, now how do we fix this?
He's very collected, yeah.
Yeah. I like the recurring gag. Like, Marge is lonely because Lisa's with Homer, and Bart, she thinks, is at the grammar rodeo. And so it's Marge just kind of stuck with no one other than Maggie. And there's at one point where she's, like, clearly lonely, looking into all their empty bedrooms, just bummed out. So she goes into Maggie's room, and Maggie's asleep, and she clears her throat a few times, and that doesn't work. So she just pokes Maggie real hard to get her to wake up crying, and then, oh, you poor thing, and coddles this kid.
I'm not something that moms do that they just never tell anyone about. It's just a secret mom thing.
I love this. And there's the recurring gag where like Bart calls home but wants to talk to Lisa, and then Homer calls home and she's like, oh, I don't remember the last time you called me from, oh, you want to talk to Lisa? Okay. Like, Marge is just cast aside throughout this whole episode in a very funny way. It's not overly sad or anything. It's played for jokes. So it's always, that was good. I liked that a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like, not even so much like the laughs per minute probably weren't as good as some episodes, but I just enjoyed it. I like the premise. Yeah. I like the daughter-son stuff, and I just like them on that road trip. I just really enjoyed it.
Who doesn't love a good road trip movie to begin with? So like a road trip Simpsons episode, I'm into that.
As am I.
I like that they narrow down, should we go to Knoxville or Disney World? And they choose Knoxville.
Knoxville, yeah.
Episode 21 is 22 short films about Springfield. Again, I like when we do episodes about the minor characters, and that's what this entire thing is. Bart and Milhouse are spitting off of the overpass bridge onto cars below, which I can't speak to. I've never done that, but that seems like a delinquent thing to do.
Yeah.
And Bart just wonders, like, I wonder what everyone else is up to. So we do an all side characters episode, which I really like. Scrubs would do this every so often too, because there's so much like inner monologue of JD on that episode. They would occasionally do one where he would like pass that off, and you would follow Dr. Cox or Elliot or some of the interns for the rest of the episode, and that I always really liked. So happy to see it here as well.
I just had a thought. Do you remember in the early 90s, there was a movie where Macaulay Culkin plays an evil kid, and like Elijah Wood is like his brother or his cousin or I don't know if it's like a foster care type thing. And like, I think doesn't Macaulay Culkin like toss like a brick off of it and fucking cause a giant car crash or something? Or something. He does something gnarly, and that's when the Elijah Wood's character is like, holy shit, this is a bad kid. But he sells it to the adults so they don't ever believe. Yeah, man, that's a movie I haven't fucking thought of.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I think that's
it's what happens to the Home Alone kid when he doesn't get reprimanded for physically torturing cat burglars.
Or it's what happens when he is constantly neglected by his parents to the point that they can leave the country more than once without him.
Where are they going in Home Alone 2? I've not seen Home Alone 2 that often.
I've only seen it once, and it was when it was new, so I also don't know shit about the premise of Home Alone 2.
Because he's in New York, and that's not where they're living, so yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the deal is with Home Alone 2. We start, the first person we follow is Apu, who leaves the store for 5 minutes to go to a party, and has a fantastic chain of events where he like runs in, grabs a hot dog off the grill that's not even cooked yet, slams a beer, jumps in the pool, and bangs someone in the garden shack. Like, I love Apu's 5 minute hard party.
Yeah. Who knew that Apu knew how to hang? He really went for it.
Yeah, if he lets himself get away from the Quickie Mart, he's a real good time.
Yeah.
Lisa gets Bart's gum in her hair. He just spits it out as he's going by. It's like, not even intentionally. I like that Bart does this to Lisa completely by accident.
Yeah.
And we get Marge doing her mom home remedies of how to get gum out of your hair. She smears peanut butter on it, and then that's not working. So she's like, oh, maybe it just needs a little mayonnaise to get going, and which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And sends Lisa outside to sit in the sun to let that mayonnaise bake, because that's going to help.
That sounds great. Yeah.
Real gross. Nothing like hot mayonnaise. Lisa laments that she smells like a sandwich and is attacked by horseflies.
A real rough day.
Yeah, Lisa's having a tough one.
I do like we get a little Dr. Nick, and we get to hear the line, holy smokes, you need booze.
Yep. This bit, like from Lisa, we cut to Smithers being the only one pedaling the tandem bicycle that he and Burns are riding.
Yeah.
Holy shit, is it good? Because he gets stung in the eye by a bee, which he is deathly allergic to, and Burns continues to refuse to pedal and makes poor Smithers pedal the tandem bike all the way to the hospital. I love that, like, as Smithers is like trying not to freak out, like Burns keeps making these little under his breath comments, like as Smithers is trying not to freak out with the bee in his eye, Smithers will occasionally just be like, oh, we're still slowing down. Oh, we're starting to teeter. Like every so often, just dismayed at like, oh, we're wobbling a little. Like, holy shit, I was dying. It's only like a 3-minute bit, but God, it's funny.
When was the last time you were stung by a bee?
Probably not since like my teenage years. Like I'm not, like it's happened a handful of times. I'm not allergic or anything. It'll puff up, but just like a great big mosquito bite. I'm not like, I don't have any troubles with bees. It's still unpleasant, but I'm happy to not be someone who has to carry an EpiPen with them in the summer.
I've been stung, I think, I was like 18 or 19. I was like, I don't think I've been stung since I was a kid. She's like, look at that. I got stung by a bee. I was like, oh my God, this really sucks.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, Jesus, this pain's not going away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it burns like hell. You got to pull the stinger out. Like, we have, there's probably a more scientific name for them, but we have, where I come from, sweat bees. Those real small, they're kind of a silver color. They look like a bee, except they're the size of like, think like a little smaller than a box elder bug.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they're some type of bee or wasp. We just called them sweat bees. But again, we only had one tractor with a cab on it, and guess who never got to drive that one? It was me. So you'd be out haying in the summer, and they're just attracted to sweat, and you would get just eaten up by these fucking monsters.
No shit.
Yeah, and those would burn like a bee sting. Those were not cool. But a regular old bee, it's been a long time.
I think when I was a kid, I got bit or stung by a wasp when I was real little. And then as an adult, it must have been just a big old fat honeybee is my guess.
Mm-hmm. Wasps are terrifying creatures.
Yeah, they're jerks.
Mm-hmm. Real dicks.
Yeah. Bees, it's almost like, hey, they had to disembowel themselves to do this, so they must have been pretty shook. But wasp are just,
A wasp is just doing it because he's an asshole.
And does a wasp sting, or does it? No, they sting. They sting.
Yeah,
maybe they can bite, but they sting more than anything.
Yeah, they can go to hell is what they can do. I hate wasps. So Smithers finally pedals the bike all the way to the hospital and collapses, and doctors come rushing out and take Mr. Burns in, who has no injuries, and leave Smithers out in the gutter.
In a heap.
Yep, which is when you get Dr. Nick stepping over him going, oh, you need booze, and throws him some
Holy
change.
Smokes, you need booze. Just a smattering of change.
Yeah. Dr. Nick is there to treat Abe Simpson, who is convinced he has some manner of dental problem, which he does not, and just needs a quack. He needs some old-timey medicine that doesn't actually do anything, is what he's there for. And Dr. Nick obliges by giving him, like, oral shock treatment, to just strips the wires out of a lamp and shocks the shit out of Abe Simpson, who is grateful. He's very happy to be receiving what he thinks is very helpful, horrifying medical procedure.
You get a lot of seat of your pants medicine with Dr. Nick. He's
real improv doc.
It's just a real jazz musician doctor. Just kind of goes where the song takes him.
It's the medicine he doesn't give.
Yeah.
Snake robs Moe's. There's a real brief sequence of Snake robbing Moe. I just have real quick, fucking nonsensical, like 3-word notes.
What we do get is it's now lived on forever as a series of memes, is the Principal Skinner steamed hams bit.
Yep, it was weird to finally see that, because I've seen that meme 1,000 times.
1,000,000, yep, exactly.
Yeah. It's Skinner's steamed hams.
Kind of weird to see it in the wild, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a weird sequence that goes on way longer than anyone else's in this episode.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Skinner's making a roast for Chalmers, who's coming over, and he burns it, and then tells Chalmers, that's not smoke, we're having steamed clams, and then goes to Krusty Burger and gets hamburgers and comes out, I didn't say clams, I meant hams, but these are hamburgers. Well, that's just what I call them. Like, it's a super
regional
weird
dialect.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from Utica. What part of upstate New York did you hear this at?
It's more of an Albany thing. Like, just bizarre back and forth between these two. Of, like, Skinner coming up with ridiculous lies and Chalmers being suspicious but buying it in the end.
You call them steamed hams. They clearly were grilled.
Yeah. And then the house is on fire, and Skinner's mom is yelling from upstairs about the house is on fire, and Chalmers still, like, not believing it, like just believing Skinner over what evidence is in front of his face the whole time. And that's the entire bit. The cops at Krusty Burger are just doing the Pulp Fiction thing. One of many Pulp Fiction references we get in this episode. They're just sitting around being like, they're doing the Royale with cheese Sam Jackson thing from Pulp Fiction, except they're talking about McDonald's as if it's a new chain that none of them have ever heard of, which I thought was really funny. This McDonald's, it's kind of like Krusty Burger, except they call this that and that this instead. So they do that whole bit. We get a brief look into the personal life of the B-Man from the television.
Yep.
And I love that it's essentially him coming home after a long day of slapstick comedy, but his work has followed him home. And it's just it's just a series of unfortunate. He opens up a cupboard that is full of oranges, which all fall on him. And he gets like stuck in the ceiling fan somehow, and the whole house collapses.
His wife leaves him.
Yep, then his wife leaves him. And it's just like I can't catch a break kind of. Yeah. It's very funny. Yeah. And then Wiggum and Snake do a different Pulp Fiction bit where Wiggum is walking across the sidewalk with a box of donuts and Snake sees him. And then they get into a fight and end up in the military discount store where we keep the Pulp Fiction references coming as, I forget that character's name, the one-armed guy. Yeah. Yeah, so he locks them up in the back room, and we'll get back to them later. Reverend Lovejoy has trained his dog to only shit on Ned Flanders' lawn, which I think is really funny. I love the weird tension between Lovejoy and Flanders. Yeah,
which is strictly on Lovejoy's side. Flanders, he just thinks that Lovejoy's the greatest, but he's just such a smart, not smarmy, but just such a goody two-shows. It even gets under Lovejoy's skin, which is great.
Yep, it only goes one way, and I love that Reverend Lovejoy secretly despises Ned Flanders. Yeah. I think that is so fucking funny. we're still trying to get gum out of Lisa's hair. Flanders recommends you freeze it with an ice cube and hammer it out. And then, so they show them doing that, and then Flanders is just like, well, all I did was manage to hammer it deeper into the hair. Anyway, bye. And he just takes off. Lisa continuing to have a hard episode. We get a bit of Cletus the slack-jawed yokel, complete with his own sitcom-style theme song. And it's so good. He's like talking to his wife with this old pair of work boots, just like, maybe you could wear these to work. Nah, Cletus, that'll scuff up the topless dancing stage. Put them back where you got them. So he takes them and throws them back on the power line.
Yeah.
God, it was fucking good. We cut to Milhouse charging into the comic book store because he needs to use the bathroom real bad, and the comic book guy won't let him unless he buys something, so he buys a Hamburglar comic, and then his dad is like, I thought you had to use the bathroom, and you're buying comics? What the hell? And drags him out of the store.
Oh, and then that's how they end up getting into the pawn shop, is just to use the bathroom.
Yeah, then they stop at the military surplus store where the owner has Wiggum and Snake tied up with ball gags like Pulp Fiction, and it says Milhouse can use the bathroom, and Milhouse disappears to the back and comes out wearing a knight's helmet and wielding a mace, swinging it around, and accidentally saves the day. Like,
I'm just gonna say,
takes that dude out.
Stops a tragedy from happening.
Yep. Stops the darker parts of Pulp Fiction from happening. Yeah. Well, some of the darker parts. We get Lisa at the barber shop. She gets a haircut and gets it like cut into like a bob, kind of a helmet cut, which she is pretty happy with. And then Nelson points and laughs at her, and then she puts her hat back on and just like walks out of frame, just like, oh, she's continuing to have a bad day, is Lisa.
Yep.
And then Nelson, this is maybe one of my favorite jokes of the whole thing. Nelson sees a guy crammed into like a Volkswagen Bug with his knees way up by his face and does his point and laugh, and the guy unfolds himself out of the car, this obnoxiously, cartoonishly tall man, who then runs down Nelson and is like, oh, you like making fun of people? This is the only car I can afford, or the biggest car I can afford. And
so great.
And pantses Nelson in the middle of the street.
How would you like it?
And drives behind him, forcing him to march down the street, waving and blowing kisses at people while they point and laugh at him.
Yeah. Wave to the people, blow them kisses.
I just love the idea of some random man, like Nelson finally ha-ha'd at the wrong guy.
Yeah. The grown man removing a child's pants and forcing him to march through town so the whole town can laugh at him. And that reminded me of something that I hadn't thought of in a while. There was elderly, but he seemed elderly because I was a child, like a very, very tall elderly man in my hometown that drove a tiny little antique MG convertible. And he looked, his knees would be higher than his head in that fucking car. Who was he? Like, it was this random elderly man. And where did he find a British fucking sports car in rural North Dakota? Like, none of it made sense. Like,
where are you even going? Like, he seems like is there a traveling sketch show following you around? Where's the camera?
This is a long sketch because it's been at least 3 years since you moved here. Like,
this one of
had a little apartment with that little MG car parked in front of it.
Is this one of the Jackass sabotage segments where I don't know I'm being filmed and you do something ridiculous?
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to get hit in the dick.
Waiting for Chris Pontius dressed as the devil to burst up through a manhole cover.
Yeah. Anytime now, someone's getting hit in the dick. Just wait.
I love the ending of this where Nelson goes walking under the overpass that the boys are on, and they spit on him or throw something at him, which wraps it back up to like, yeah, I guess no one. I think Bart and Milhouse's thing is like, I guess nobody has any stories or something, and they go off, which was a little anachronistic because Milhouse is in the stories. Like Milhouse is one of the stories that that's very daydreaming
That's kind of some lazy writing, yeah.
And then I love the ending because Professor Frink comes running in with like his own title card and clearly his own story to tell. But they're out of time, and they just kind of run the credits and fade him out.
Yeah. And he realizes it and is upset about it.
Yeah. No, he has an excuse of some sort. I got stuck in the lab doing this. No, wait.
Yeah, very, very good episode.
Yeah, I liked that one a whole lot.
So we're up to episode 22, Raging Abe Simpson and his grumbling grandson in the Curse of the Flying Hellfish. Great title.
Maybe my favorite episode of this whole batch. I loved this. Yep.
And again, just like the road trip one, it's not so much that the laughs were there, it was just entertaining. Like,
yeah, it's
the
a whole
fun
package.
Premise.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally. It starts in Bart's classroom. It's bring your grandpa to work or bring your grandpa to school day. And a lot of these people have cool grandpas or interesting grandpas. I think it's Nelson's grandpa's a judge who's proud of how many people he sent to the gas chamber.
Which is a hell of a thing to brag to a room full of children about.
And Grandpa Milhouse is a RV enthusiast, which the kids think is cool for some reason.
They're real into it.
Yeah, but Grandpa Simpson just goes up and tells a bunch of tall tales and talks out his ass. And I do like when he scolds Martin. He's like, too much pie, that's your problem.
I love that in one of his tall tales, he's like, it was the year 19-dickety-6. We had to say dickety because the Kaiser stole our word for 20.
Yeah.
Fuck. Holy shit. I was dying laughing. That was a pause the episode laugh for me.
Gotta get it out of the way before you can continue.
Yeah, because I'm trying to take notes here. I gotta fucking deal with this first. I gotta get all the giggles out before we can move on.
That's too much tittering.
Oh, I was dying.
Yeah. And the Mrs. Krabappel mocks Abe, and just everyone's like, oh, laughing at the old goof. And Bart is embarrassed. He's been embarrassed one too many times by Grandpa, and he has had enough of Grandpa's shenanigans.
Yep. And the whole family kind of. Like, they're... Like, this comes up later, but, like, the family is done buying any of his bullshit. Like, no story is going to be credible with Grandpa anymore.
And during this time, there's a dinner scene where Grandpa's also doing more Grandpa outlandish shit. And Bart has just had enough. And during this time, Grandpa receives a letter that I think it's Asa Phillips. Is that the name?
Phelps. Yep, Asa Phelps.
Asa Phelps has passed away. And then that involves him going to like a rainy funeral where it's just one or two people, which... Does this go on our list of things? Are there ever outdoor funerals in real life where there's just one or two people?
Oh, I don't know. We've seen it, like, obviously more than just The Simpsons, but we've already seen it on The Simpsons where Lisa's the only one at Bleeding Gums Murphy's.
It shows up in TV and movies a lot. Like, I just can't imagine if there's that few people, why would they even do a service? Like, who's paying for it, you know? Like, I'm guessing they don't even bother a service if there's not enough people to give a shit, you know? Like...
Also, and I've seen, I'll add to the is this only a television and movies thing, I have also only ever seen, like, outdoor seating at a funeral with the casket then lowered in on screen. I've never seen that in real life. I've been to a burial, but it's like after the service in the church. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Usually it's the service in the church, and then everyone drives to the... Yeah.
I've never seen because there's always like the nice white wooden folding chairs out on the grass. I've never seen that in real life.
Yeah.
And it's always raining at these funerals on TV or in movies. I feel like, especially the desolate ones like this, it's always in the pouring rain, as if we wouldn't reschedule this.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. The two of you just want to go inside that Dairy Queen and talk about the dearly departed? Like, do we need to be outdoors right now?
Yeah, how many overly rainy, poorly attended funerals have there been on screen? Immediately I think of The Watchmen, where the comedian is buried in the rain. It's like, this isn't real. This doesn't happen.
Or one thing that's common in our neck of the woods is you can't have the outdoor because the ground is frozen shut for 7 months out of the year. So the burial happens in the spring.
Yeah, we're big on storing them out here.
Yeah, yep.
It's like boats. A lot of winter storage happening for cadavers in North Dakota.
There's a Quonset full of bodies just out of eye shot from the cemetery.
Yeah, and you don't need any manner of refrigeration because the Quonset's fucking cold. So
are any of your family buried at like tiny little hillbilly, like rural cemeteries, or are they all mostly in like the one main cemetery in the area?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, most small town, no matter how small the town, has its own cemetery back where I'm from. And I feel like I probably have a couple, like, aunts or something, not anybody close. But I also, in my area, know of more than one on the farm burial. Where it's like, that, old so-and-so's mom is buried up. I remember vividly, hey, make sure you cut a wide swath around where so-and-so is buried when you're making hay. I've gone around a grave with a hay cutter.
Oh, no shit, yeah.
And been super careful not to nudge anything. Cut a wide swath around that headstone.
So yeah, we used to party in a place, and it was kind of a good location. Cops wouldn't mess with us. And then finally, someone's like taking a piss by the tree lines. Like, holy shit! There's tombstones.
Oh my god!
Three or four little tombstones. And I don't know if we've gotten into this on a previous podcast, but when freshman hazing was big, they took a kid. This is like a couple grades ahead of me. They took him as a freshman, duct taped him like a mummy so he couldn't move his limbs, shaved like half his head, and then lowered him into an emptied grave on an old farm lot. There was like 3 graves that were there, but then like 3 others had been uprooted and moved to another cemetery. They just dumped him in there and let him lay in there for half the night.
Wow. Just another example of kids from where you're from. We're awful.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And I remember hearing him say the worst thing was, it's fucking late October in North Dakota. It's freezing at night. And I can't move.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, someone went a little too far with that one.
It's not even the terror that grips you, it's the hypothermia.
Yeah, exactly. The terror probably helps right away.
Yeah.
You don't realize how cold it is until the terror subsides.
Good thing I'm so scared I wouldn't feel my toes going numb.
Yeah. So at that funeral, the only other person is one Mr. Montgomery Burns. And it turns out Grandpa and Mr. Burns are the only living members of their squadron that was the Flying Hellfish. And it shows that in the war, Grandpa was a hell of a soldier, kind of a leader of men. Meanwhile, Mr. Burns is the fancy boy, that doesn't want to be there, that's not going to do anything, is probably going to get somebody killed of how shitty he is.
I love they show him being carted off on a gurney that's being carried between 2 men, and then he just sits up. He just needed a nap.
Yep. That was, and I always like younger Mr. Burns with hair because it's always really creepy.
Yep. I like young Burns. I like all Burns.
And they are on the Eastern Front, and while doing some battling, they take over a castle, and it turns out it's full of priceless art. and they don't know what to do. They know the value, and right away they're not going to take it because that's immoral. But of course, Mr. Burns talks them into it, and they end up agreeing. Is it a tontine? Is that how that's pronounced?
Tontine, yeah.
And which means the last survivor gets them. So that's why now it's just down to Grandpa and Mr. Burns. So whoever survives out of those two is going to be the owner of all this priceless art. So that means that Mr. Burns is going to do everything he can to get Abe Simpson killed.
Yeah, with those being the only two left, he's not going to leave it up to fate.
Yeah, so for the next 10 minutes or so, it's all attempts by the assassin that Mr. Burns hires attempting to kill him, and it doesn't work. Mostly by just dumb luck. That the bullets, he shoots the wrong thing, the wrong explosion happens, they get a lot of sight gags. It's a good time. Good time to be had by all.
Yeah, I love that one of them, like, I believe it's the last attempt that the assassin makes, is him just spraying Tommy gun fire into the retirement home.
Yep.
And the lady behind the counter that gives out the pills ready for it pulls out a shotgun and starts firing back.
And Grandpa is now too spooked to stay at the retirement, so he goes and lives with the Simpsons and stays in Bart's room and tells Bart all these stories, which of course Bart doesn't believe until all of a sudden Mr. Burns bursts through the wall like
in a cherry picker, like in a cart.
Yeah. And I do like he gets the key that he needs, and instead of backing out, he hits the button wrong and he bursts through the wall. I think it's into Lisa's bedroom. It's like, oh, I'm sorry, little girl. All you hear is Santa. Just such a great bit. And then Bart begs to come with, but of course Mr. Burns doesn't want to do that. But it turns out Bart was just playing sly, and he got both. Not only he got Grandpa's key back, he took Mr. Burns' key as well. So in the dark of night, they go out to the giant memorial to the hellfish, and they put all the keys in, they turn it, and then we see the eyes of the fish turn onto the water. They're illuminated, so they know that there must be something there. They steal Ned Flanders' boat, which I love.
Yep. Abe is just hacksawing away at the chain that has it docked up while Ned's just like, oh, you need to borrow it, huh? And just lets it happen. All right, hey, kids, we're having a sleepover in the car or whatever he says.
Yeah, I love that. Just turn a negative into a positive.
Yeah, Ned really just going with the flow of things.
Yeah. So they find Bart goes underwater, and they find the safe that has the priceless paintings. They get it up just in time for Mr. Burns to get the drop on him, and now he's going to take those. He pushes Bart into the water, which Abe, to his credit, is able to save him. Does a hell of a job. Pretty spry for an elderly man to be able to do that kind of
when he needs to be. The man's a war hero. Like all the flashbacks we get to young Abe in the war, like he was a real man's man.
Yep.
I love that when he's rescuing Bart, like he swims all the way down, gets him out of the safe, and then takes the scuba mouthpiece out of his own mouth and goes to put it in Bart's, and Bart is like waving him off because it's gross.
Gross. They do get back to the there's a boat chase, and Grandpa takes over Burns' boat. They get onto the shore. It's a hell of a battle. They finally get the paintings that they feel are rightfully theirs, just in time for the feds to show up and announce that those paintings do not belong to either of them.
Yeah, State Department shows up and takes it from them.
Yeah.
And gives them to some shitty German.
Oh, yeah.
Who's
That's
like...
where we get the line, hey, fun boys, get a room, which I've heard used before, too.
Just like, and doesn't care. Like, the paintings don't mean anything to him. He clearly doesn't need the money. And they just throw him in the trunk, and then he just drives off with techno music blaring from the car stereo.
Is there anything more mid-90s than being like, hey, watch it, I have a CD changer in the trunk of my car? Oh,
God, that's right. I had forgotten that line. Hey, watch the CD changer.
You were a fucking baller if you had a CD changer in the trunk of your car in 1995. You were dropping serious money in a Crutchfield catalog to get that fucking bad boy. I never understood the appeal of having to pull over to change CDs if it's not, because like I have a brain that needs to hear random music at random times. If you had like 100 disc changer, maybe that'd be enough, but I don't even know if that would work for me. I'm a weird boy.
Yeah, it had to be CDs that you really liked and could listen to at any time.
I think it was a 6-disc changer was off, and that's not fucking nearly enough.
See, so if you had one of those in the mid-90s, you were cool. What was I when I had one of those in the early 2000s?
Yeah.
I
think that was still acceptable.
I had, I believe, a 5 or 6 disc changer in the trunk of an 86 Mazda 626.
Oh, nice. I bet that car didn't stick out like a sore thumb when you went back home.
But yeah, that thing had the CD changer in the back and some Pioneer 6x9s in homemade particle board boxes.
Ooh.
I was crushing it.
Oh, man, yeah. I had my 1988 Pontiac Sunbird. I had two 10-inch MTX subs in a box with a Rockford Fosgate amp running to a Alpine CD player, so... Always was an Alpine man. I always loved their CD players.
I was a Pioneer man. I didn't need the subs because I don't need to let everyone else know I'm cool. I know I'm cool.
Bro.
I don't need to broadcast it.
I think maybe you did.
That, and you know how quickly you fucking ruin good car stereo equipment when you pretty exclusively drive gravel roads?
Yeah. Oh, dude, yeah. There's so much grit and grime. It was tough on equipment.
Yeah, if you popped a 6x9 out of a speaker box and tipped it upside down, you could get like a whole fucking ice cream bucket worth of dust out of that.
Yeah, it was like you're fucking like mining for gold. Like all this silt. Oh, yeah. Man, what a dying thing, the aftermarket car stereo business. Like,
yeah.
Cars are like, everyone's car looks like the inside of a spaceship now. Like,
right, and all of these companies that made aftermarket car stereo equipment just signed contracts with car manufacturers.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, like there's no one size fits all car stereos anymore. It used to be they were all pretty much the same, you know, like maybe you got like a filler to take up some of the extra dash space, but it was a fairly easy. Like, it's a job you could do yourself. I'm not very mechanically inclined. I could change a deck out if I needed to, but like, fuck, you would have to take the car. You have to take the front end of your car out to do it now, like to go through the firewall.
Yeah, that whole
a plasma cutter.
Get a welding helmet in here.
Yeah.
That world, I know for a fact, though, that world does still exist to some extent. My mother put a Pioneer Bluetooth deck in her Pontiac Grand Prix like just a few weeks ago. So
nice.
That world is still out there.
Yep. I'm sure it'll always be there. Just they'll just keep changing with what the market wants, you know, like, you know, you buy a car that has the basic stereo, but you want the backup camera and you want the in-dash screen. So that company, I'm sure fucking Pioneer will sell you something like that.
I'm sure.
God, there was so many different, right? Like Blaupunkt. I was like, who's buying Blaupunkt? I always kind of thought, I was like, I should be a Blaupunkt man.
Holy shit. I've not heard that name in so fucking long.
I said the model names were always city names, like the Blaupunkt Chicago.
Yeah.
That was the... I heard the thing was like, do you want a cassette player with CD changer controls built in, or do you want just the in-dash CD player? I was in-dash CD player, ride or die.
Yeah, before or after the CD changer in the trunk, I definitely just went to in-dash decks. I feel like most of the kids in high school were in-dash deck people, and there was a handful of kids in my high school could throw a fucking deck in a car in 20 minutes, like over school lunch break. If you had a minute, pull it up to the back shop of the where shop class is, and just throw it in. It's like, man, you know more about this shit than I do.
Some kids,
you give me anything electronic related, and I'm boned.
Yeah. Some kids' cars were always in various states of disrepair. Like they're in the middle of putting a deck in, or they're in the middle of running some wires to the fucking subs. Like
in the middle
are you ever going to see your car at its peak?
Right. Is this car ever finished?
Yeah.
I remember a lot of unfinished masterpieces.
Yeah. If I swear to fucking God, if I get my confirmation money, I'm going to get these kick-ass fucking tweeters. It's going to be so fucking tight.
Yep. I'm going to get some tweeters in the doors for the highs.
Just got to have that proper high end so you can truly appreciate that Brooks and Dunn CD or cassette. So you're trying to get premium sound out of a cassette on a gravel road in a fucking truck that has fucking, you can see the sunlight through the gaps between the door and the frame. Get concert quality sound there, fucking Chief.
Oh, God.
One thing I found fascinating about this episode, too, is it's like 25 years ago when this was an episode, every old man was a World War II vet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but
that's true.
We've reached a point now that there's barely any left.
Yeah, I feel like every old timer back home was either World War II or Korea.
Yep.
Like they were all
Even
vets
Korean
of some
War
sort.
vet. You're old, man, if you were in Korea.
Yeah, phasing out now.
One of the last coherent, mentally, could talk about it and stuff. One of the last ones in my hometown just passed away. He was 95 or 96. He was one of the last guys that would still show up for the Memorial Day parade. He'd still, he'd be at the VFW during whatever, anniversaries of D-Day or whatever.
Yeah.
He just, there's a time that community was teeming with World War II vets. Now, if there's any left, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's some in the old folks' home, but he was the last one that was would go out and do shit and talk about it and stuff. So
yeah, I feel like now if you see an old man with a veteran's cap on, it's a Vietnam cap.
Which is weird. When I was a little kid, those guys were barely middle-aged.
They were your age when you were a little kid.
Yeah, if not younger.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to think of. Yeah.
I came from this episode thinking that you and I should definitely get in on a tontine. Do you want to get in on a tontine?
What do we have that we both want real bad?
I don't know. We could just put money in it, I guess.
Yeah.
It's not
just a pathetic, meager amount.
$30. We each chip in $30, and whoever lives longest gets it.
Yeah.
Do you want
end up having to pay money because the safety deposit box fees.
Whoever's alive at the end gets to settle the debt with the bank.
Congratulations, you live long enough to pay us $370.
Get the whole Fargo comedy scene in on it. Get all the comics to pitch in $1.
I remember taking part in many a time capsule as a kid. What's going on with those time capsules?
I feel like was probably part of one right around fourth grade. I don't know what's going on with those.
Yeah. I wonder how many time capsules are destroyed when they lay fiber optic cable.
Yeah, I don't how many of those were casualties of just development?
It's also funny that we discussed Tim Burton because this episode had a real Big Fish vibe where it's this dad telling fantastical stories.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I can see that. God, I also came out of this wondering how many hellfish tattoos among Simpsons hardcore nerds do you think are out there?
Very good point.
I bet it hasn't reached Hatchet Man tattoo saturation like the Juggalos, but I bet that there are more than you think hellfish tattoos among Simpsons Uber fans.
Oh man, yeah. I'm sure we probably have a mutual friend that has one. We've just never realized it.
Yeah, possibly. And then from there, following that line of thought to its logical end, how many people exist who have both a hellfish tattoo and a hatchet man? Because that person exists for sure.
Yeah.
One more episode. We got episode 23, which is Much a Poo About Nothing. I love the start of this episode where we have a bear who has wandered his way into town and is causing no harm to anyone, but people are completely flipped the fuck out about it anyway.
Yeah.
I love, like, Ned just seeing this bear, cartoonishly cute, just sit around, big lazy bear, and he just shrieks and runs from it and can't get in the house. I don't have time to do the knock, and just breaks through the window.
Side window,
Yeah, trying to escape this completely harmless bear.
Grizzly bears are so fucking rad, dude. They're just, like, they're just big, dopey, except when they don't want to be, and they are they're like a fucking Chevy fucking Sonic covered in steak knives. That's just like this big square thing that you cannot stop, and it's way faster than you, and it's full of sharp things, and if it gets on top of you, it's game fucking over. Like, and I just think it's not only that all of this used to be grizzly bear country. Like, pretty much the western 2/3 of the U.S. was just grizzly bears chilling out in a field somewhere. Like,
yeah, I like to envision that they were packed so tight. There were too many bears.
It's just sick of grizzly bears, like rabbits. It's like, God damn it, grizzly bears are digging up the garden again. Bears
are the most adorable thing that will murder you in an instant.
Yeah, and kill you because they're bored.
Yeah, I feel about grizzly bears the same way I feel about Ronda Rousey. Boy, she's cute and would kill me immediately.
Yeah. Slowly drain the life out of you.
Yeah. Grizzly bears significantly less transphobic than Ronda Rousey is.
It's good for them.
Yeah.
Shame on her.
Yeah. Good bears. Bad Ronda. Good bears.
I had a buddy that grew up in real rural Iron Range in northern Minnesota, and he said up there black bears are so commonplace that you kind of lose your fear of them. He's like, they're like big raccoons. Like, you just holler at them.
You just
like,
get
out of the garbage. Yeah, because they want to get. He's like, just throw pine cones at him. Like, he talks about being a little kid, him and his little sisters waiting for the bus, and this big black bear just bounds out of the woods. And he's like, we just sat there and hollered at it, threw pine cones at it till it left.
Jesus Christ.
Fucking Kevin McAllister, Home Alone screamed. Probably shit my pants.
A lot of Macaulay Culkin in this episode.
Yeah. I remember being probably like early teens and being like a triple F forced family fun adventure. It's like us driving through the hills back home, just fucking, I don't know what we were up to, just putzing around. And a black bear juts out in front of us, which is very rare where I'm from. My dad throws a moving car in park very quickly and bursts out the door and takes off after it on foot.
What?
And after like 45 minutes and he's not back, it's like, when do we worry, Mom? And she's like, I'm sure he's fine. We just sat there. It's starting to get dark. We just sit there in silence. Just cars just sitting there idling. Then he just comes out of the trees, just gets in the car. Like,
what the fuck? Why?
Just wanted to follow it and watch it. Bears are, especially back then, bears are definitely rare. It'll happen a little more often now.
I can't fathom why he would do that.
Different generations.
God damn it.
Yeah. Wanted to show that I wasn't the only apex predator around.
Yeah, like, what do you do?
He caught and ate a squirrel in front of it. What do you think of that?
Huh? Fuck you.
Yeah. Just thought bears were cool. Wanted an up close look.
I have never seen a bear outside of the zoo. If I saw a bear just wandering around being a bear, I would flip the fuck out. I would shit and run and be eaten immediately because I'm not much of a runner. But like that'd be the end of this podcast if I saw a bear.
What happened to Marlin? He got bared.
Yeah. Oh, bears got him. Oh, yeah.
When I was like not 15, like in my early 20s, what a weird summer where bears came around, and like I was lying in bed one night and all of a sudden the neighbor's cows started making a bunch of noise. It's like, I wonder what the hell that is. And then I heard all this rustling in the trees behind my parents' place. It's like, did those cows get out? And I was like, there was something bad. Like, I remember telling my dad, he's like, you're just imagining shit. And then sure enough, we find out like a day or two later, our neighbor had all sorts of paw prints in the garden. I was like, no shit, that was a bear that was making all that fucking commotion. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I have a buddy of mine who was a regional cage fighter for a time, and he was somewhere in buttfuck Minnesota up in the woods, and on his way back home after a cage fight, as if your night hasn't gone, as if you haven't had enough going on in your life that night.
Yeah.
Hit a fucking bear on the highway and totaled his car out.
No shit.
He's like, it was like hitting a wall, is what he said. Just fucking bang, and your car's at a dead stop, and it is done.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. They're a little more solid than a deer. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just a cuddly refrigerator full of saw blades.
Yeah. And life altering violence if you cross it.
I can't imagine.
Yep. Meanwhile, I would watch a YouTube video of a bear trying to open a can of peaches for 5.5 hours and laugh the whole time.
Absolutely. Yep.
He doesn't know how pull rings work. What a cutie pie.
He just can't navigate that pull ring. He's got those big claws. Look at him.
He sure wants those peaches.
Yeah, just like show me a bear laying on its back like an infant licking the last bit of grape jelly out of a jar. I'll watch that for 12 hours. And just aw the whole time. Look how much he likes it. But they will murder you in a heartbeat. So Homer decides that if he's going to wait out the bears, because there's kind of a stay-at-home order, imagine that, in America, we get to see someone immediately violate a stay-home order. Homer's like, well, if I'm going to wait this out, I have to get beer. So he goes to go on a beer run, trying to, like, carnival crawl across the fucking power line and falls down onto the grass with the bear, and is immediately, everyone thinks he's in danger. I love that this bear never once in this entire bear's appearance in the first 5 minutes of this is ever a threat to anybody. He's just a dopey, fat, hanging out bear. And Wiggum and the boys show up and immediately trank Barney with the trank dart. Either missing or mistaking Barney, and they shoot him with the trank dart. And Barney, dismayed at first, is like, "Oh, okay," and like breaks the syringe open and drinks what's left of it.
Yeah, kind of gets a nice little buzz.
Yeah, Barney's pretty into bear tranquilizer. And then they trank the bear, and they show they've netted the bear and they're loading him into the Forest Service van, and as it takes off, they show them do Moe's service truck doing the same thing to Barney, loading Barney into the Moe's truck, which I really liked, as he's just snoozing away, and they got him in a net, hoisting him into the truck. Homer then goes on a anti-bear crusade. There's a lot of stuff in the first half of this episode with, like, the town's, like, willingness to mob up over nothing, and the taxes and politics that come into the first half of this episode hit pretty hard in today's day and age for me, especially living in North Dakota, where no one wants to pay taxes for anything and refuses to do anything that's asked of them. So
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fuck. The first half of this episode was pretty rough on me. I was like, God damn it.
I hate these people. I'm surrounded by these people
every fucking day. So they get a bear patrol that has, like, driving around, and there's a fucking stealth bomber that's the anti-bear patrol bomber. Clearly
Bear
spent a
Force
lot on
One.
this. Yep, Bear Force One. They're safe from the bears, and then Homer gets his paycheck and sees that there's a $5 tax taken out of it, and they immediately mob up again because they refuse to pay this $5 tax.
For a service they demanded.
Yep, that they don't need, yet still demanded.
Yeah.
Like, fucking Ned right away comes to Homer like, hey, I've lived here 30 years and this is the first time a bear has come along. And Homer's just immediately, well, we got to protect the kids. These bears are everywhere now. Like, God damn it, you dum-dums.
So great.
Quimby, adding to both the problem and my rage while watching this episode, blames immigrants for the problem. That the bears are simply a side effect of all these immigrants coming to town. And why we don't have enough tax money is these immigrants. And, boy, this fucking episode.
I don't know if you paid attention to the news for the last, 100 years. This is a common occurrence with politicians. You find a scapegoat that has no power and that can't harm you, so you just blame everything on them.
Yep, pretty close to home for
150 years ago. They blamed shit on like
the
in
Irish.
New York. The Irish were stealing all the jobs. Yeah.
You can find old photographs that say like
Irish need not apply.
Yep, now hiring, no Irish.
Yep, the Italians too. There'd be no Italian signs. So
yeah, it's almost like we just find a new scapegoat every time we try to solve the same problem.
Yeah, now we just aim for people that don't look like us. That's what we go for now.
Yeah, we don't need to specify. You just point at the different. They're the problem.
That's it.
Fuck. God damn it, this episode had me on. I was watching this like, there were a couple times I never did, but nearly thought about pausing it and just being like, fucking god damn it.
You know who stands up for what's right? Goddamn Willie. That's who.
Hell yeah, he does, because Willie is an immigrant.
Yep.
And this immediately spills over into the whole town being anti-immigrant, because of course it does, because Springfield represents America, and America's fucking dumb. So we see in the school the kids bullying Uther, the German exchange student, and giving him the go back where you come from. Skinner jumps on the dog pile as well. Like, Jesus Christ. And Willie is the one to come to Uther's defense of pick on someone your own size if you don't like immigrants. I'm not going to do a Scottish accent because I can't. So the Simpson family, Lisa, not into this. Lisa, of course, seeing right through it, but the rest of the family pretty on board with anti-immigrants. Homer didn't realize that Apu was an immigrant at all. Like, I love that never occurred to him. And there's almost a moment, because Apu is uncomfortable and scared because he's like, he doesn't want to get shipped away. And
how long has he said he's lived here? Is it like a dozen years or something?
Something like that. He came over with a green card for school, and then afterwards, didn't want to leave. I forget his exact reasoning, but
student loans. Which, man, Simpsons did it. Boy, if they only knew what that would become.
He couldn't live with himself without paying off his student loans first.
Yeah.
Which, if he's doing it at a convenience store, it's going to be the rest of his life.
That's gonna. He could live to be, 400 years old. Maybe he'll have them paid off.
Fucking Homer comes so close to having an epiphany here when he's like, "Oh, I just never thought that this thing that I was so mad about could affect someone I care about. Well, anyway," and leaves the fucking convenience store. Holy shit! I was like, "You son of a bitch."
So good.
We get Apu's story about how he came here, being a college student and everything, and then deciding to stay and pay off his debt. One of the delinquents, the bald one, whose name I never remember, comes in and buys beer with what is clearly a fake ID. And Apu sees an opportunity, asks him where he got it, and the kid does, and it turns out he got him from the king of organized crime in Springfield, which is Fat Tony. And Apu gets a whole set of birth certificate, social security card, gets all his fake paperwork done with Fat Tony. And the next time we see Apu, he has gone full American. He has a cowboy hat. He has replaced his Hindu statue with a copy of Entertainment Weekly. He's trying to speak in an American accent. is not able to keep the facade up long before he breaks down and is horribly ashamed for casting aside who he actually is and denouncing his heritage. Bart suggests that he just marry someone, that he get in a citizenship marriage, and calls Aunt Selma, who just 4 episodes ago got married to Troy McClure for the wrong reasons. And so she's not into it. She's not going to go along with that at all.
I love how many failed sham marriages she's already been in the run of this show.
We're only in season 7. She's had 2. One to fucking Sideshow Bob and one to Troy McClure.
And I thought there was a third one that I'm forgetting about, but that I could be off.
I think you might be thinking of her mom, the Marge's mom, where she always almost marries Mr. Burns.
Yep, that could be it.
Because I thought the same thing watching this. I was like, yeah, she's up to 3. And then I had to think, nope, that's Mrs. Bouvier.
Yep, good point. Very good point.
Apu decides to take the citizenship test. We get some real good sight gags of Homer being a horrible tutor, not knowing shit about American history. And it starts from the get-go with him just like pointing at a flag being like, we all know that the 13 stripes are for luck, but why is there only 47 stars? And Apu has to be like, because that's a horribly outdated flag.
Just a horribly outdated flag is such a great response.
That went missing from the post office recently. I think it's implied that it's a stolen flag.
One thing I like too, isn't Mo with a fake mustache taking the citizenship test too?
Yeah, once we get to Apu taking the citizenship test, we see a few others, one being the Italian chef. I forget a couple of the others. But
the B guy.
Yeah, B guy. One of them is Mo, who has a fake
and it's
mustache.
never addressed.
Nope.
It's never addressed, yeah.
No, not touched on at all. Just, Mo apparently also an immigrant and didn't know it. Apu passes, because of course he does, and then we're having a celebratory barbecue where Homer gives an impassioned speech about the importance of immigrants, and they're the glue that holds us together, and it's like, yes, Homer, we know. It took you 22 minutes to learn, but we know that, you fuck.
But you know who didn't learn it? The people of Springfield, because Proposition 24 passes with flying colors.
In a landslide, something like 85% voted yes, or something like that, which, again, being someone whose ideologies does not fit in with the state in which he resides is real tough to see. Every time we vote for anything in North Dakota, I have to just look at it and be like, God damn it.
Do that Arthur fist clench.
Yeah. Like, these are the people, huh? And we end on a scene of Willie on a boat being deported.
Yeah.
Willie apparently did not pass the citizenship test and is deported from Springfield.
Yeah, and he's very defiant till the very end.
Yeah, really shaking his fist, fuck them anyway, kind of attitude out of Willie, which I like.
Yeah.
But man,
Willie just gets better and better.
He really does. And I feel like we have not gotten a ton of Willie lately, so
nope.
I'm happy to get
Comes and goes.
Yeah, I'm happy to get any piece of Willie I can get, which is a hell of a sentence for you to cut out and have as your ringtone. Fuck. All right.
Just someone put that on a loop so we can hear it over and over again.
Someone make a techno remix of that.
Yeah.
Auto-tune that.
I think we hadn't had a Homer being a piece of shit in a while. He's a real piece of shit in this episode.
Yeah, man, like I said, this episode was irritating to watch. Yeah. But it's good. I think it's a good episode. I think the jokes are on point. I think, obviously it's a good ending for Apu. I like that we got a lot of Apu because, again, love a B character getting an A story. Big fan of that. But man, those fucking people of Springfield.
Yeah, the worst.
Reverend Lovejoy's wife who keeps shouting, why won't anyone please think of the children?
Yeah.
Because I fucking know people like that.
Oh, yeah.
But it was good. It was good all around. It was irritating as fuck and very funny. So.
Yeah, this is a good batch. No, hey, 2 weeks in a row now, I believe. No fucking flashback episodes, no clip shows.
Yeah.
That 22 Stories About Springfield was really a unique, enjoyable episode, which we were talking earlier. I think that one's kind of held up pretty high amongst Simpson fans.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
It's on a lot of favorites lists.
I really like it. I'm a sucker for an anthology. Be it horror movie anthologies or even just collections of short stories. I like anthologies.
Are you a fan of the work of the filmmaker Robert Altman? I don't. Altman done a lot of movies like that, like where it's a long movie, but it's like instead of it being following one long journey, it's like 10 different small journeys. Like,
I don't think I know him.
Yeah. I know that Anderson dude that made Magnolia is a big Altman fan, and Magnolia is definitely smacks a lot of Robert Altman because Magnolia has a million different stories going on at once too.
I really like. I think it's part of why I like the Treehouse of Horrors so much. I like a movie that's here's 5 short films with an overarching thing to tie them all together. Like,
I'm kind of this. I like that kind of stuff too.
I love the VHS movies. If you've ever seen VHS or VHS
Saw
2,
the very first one.
I really like both of those.
Yeah, there's some gnarly parts in all of those.
Yeah, the second one is especially good, or I especially like it because one of them's, I believe, a Korean movie made by the guy who made The Raid, which I love. I love The Raid and The Raid 2, and that director contributed a short film to VHS 2, which is very good. So
yeah, the Raid 2 for like 1 week played in a theater in Fargo, like at one of, and not like the downtown artsy fartsy one, at like the Cineplex, you know.
The Raid 2 is great.
Because we got to go see this. Like, if I'm looking at like the trailer, like this looks fucking nuts, and it is.
The Raid 2 has a fucking full-blown martial arts fight during a car chase, like inside and outside of cars and on motorcycles. Like, hell yeah, those are great action movies. People rave about the John Wick movies, and I love the John Wick movies, but the Raid movies are just a tiny step above.
The Raid movies are definitely more hand-to-hand combat too. That's why I kind of like, you get the gunplay, but you also do get like martial arts type fighting.
Yeah, love those. Those are a must recommend to anybody that gives a fuck about action movies. Yeah,
that would get my stamp of approval as well.
We did it. We did another batch. I'll be goddamned.
Look at us go. Look at us. They said it would never happen, and here we are, 30 episodes in. The
haters keep saying that we'll give up any day now, though we don't have haters. But I'm sure that if we did, that's what they would be saying.
They would. Oh, they're just steaming. The haters are just steaming right now. God damn. We're like the Duke boys. We just keep getting out of their grasp. Like, oh, one of these days I'm going to get those Barley Basket boys, and they're going to pay for it. But no. We're too wily, Marlin. We're too wily.
Oh, those Barley Basket boys.
Yeah, just peel it out in a giant family sedan.
Peeling out in your Mercury Sable, just barely getting away.
Pontiac Bonnevilles?
Freeze framing over a blown out bridge.
Yeah. I don't think that LeSabre's suspension can handle the weight those boys are putting on it. Come back after the commercial to see if they buckle the frame.
That Lincoln Town car going to be able to handle them Barley Basket boys as it's freeze framed.
Yeah. And we're like 2 inches off the ground.
Like you came out of a driveway too fast.
Yeah. Ooh, I think I bruised a kidney.
Oh, jeez. Oh, God. Oh, I banged my knee on the
seatbelt
dash.
Was back there.
Oh, God, it's cutting on me. The seatbelt's cutting into me.
Well, why don't you think I fucking don't wear them?
You gonna make me say it, are you?
Yeah. They'll pass out because they'll cut the blood out.
Oh, this belt buckle's cutting into me. Why is it so high? Don't ask. You know why.
Put a seatbelt in a fat guy's like putting yourself in a Cobra clutch. It's like it's going to just cut the blood off. What did DiBiase call it? The $1 Million Dream?
Yep.
I don't need to get $1 Million Dream by my car.
Oh, man.
I suffer enough indignities.
You wearing a seatbelt just looks like when a butcher twines up a roast.
Yeah, I don't need my car to make me tap out.
Is that a pork loin driving that car? No, it's a middle-aged comedian that doesn't care about his own body.
Same diff.
Oh, fuck.
Well,
Next week we have episodes 24 and 25 to wrap up season 7, and episodes 1, 2, and 3 from season 8.
heck yeah.
We are marching along and loving every minute of it. I am pretty into it. I just peeked ahead at one of the episode titles, and it is one that I have definitely heard of, called Homer Palooza, which we will watch next week.
This will be the first time in a long time we've hit an episode that I've seen previously.
Oh, really? One of the 6 episodes that you've seen before?
Yep. It just dawned on me now, like, holy, I haven't said that in a long... Like, season 1, I think I'd seen like 3 of those. In season 2, I'd probably seen a few, and now we're getting towards the end.
So we will cross over next week. Again, that's the last 2 episodes of season 7 and the first 3 of season 8. And that about wraps it up.
Let's party.
I would like to thank a listener friend of ours named Jeremy, who sent a pretty fantastic sticker for the laptop that we record on, that is the Krusty the Clown seal of approval.
Oh,
which is pretty dope.
Only the finest products get that seal.
Yep, I'll post that up on our social medias, which you can find us on pretty much all of them now. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All 3 of those tagged with @BarleyBasketUSA, or you can email us barleybasketUSA@gmail.com.
Yeah, reach out to us. I just want to say one thing before we end, too. They probably sell rubber fishes and rubber ferrets.
Oh, no.
Go that route.
Oh, jeez.
I bet the power of imagination, they probably make ones that feel lifelike. You don't need your deviancy doesn't need to affect the outcome of the lives of small woodland creatures and fish.
You know what?
Just give it a thought. The internet's a crazy place. You can find all sorts of fun stuff on the internet.
It really is.
Just give it a thought. Give it a thought.
Honestly, if this is the route you are now taking with this, I support it.
There we go. Yeah, thank you.
If you have completely taken a stance of here are some alternatives rather than here is how to do the awful thing less awfully, then
it's more responsible. People are doing it. It's a sick world out there. And I don't kink shame, but please, I don't want your kink to end with fun pets reaching a demise that they do not deserve. That's no way to go. That's like a mining. That's a gerbil's version of a mining disaster. There are gerbils writing folk songs about people getting trapped, their loved ones getting trapped in celebrities' lower GI tracts. They don't need it. They don't need it. Someone's already written the gerbil version of the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. They don't need a sequel. Let it end there. So come on, take it easy. There is people, Marlin, that drive by a PetSmart and get a hard on. Think about that. Think about that as you go to bed tonight. Like that, they just whisper, "Jesus, take the wheel," and they just can't make direct eye contact with a PetSmart because they are just thinking of the goddamn flea thumb slapping bass solo that gerbil could play on their prostate when it panics. What a world! What an amazing species we are! That's man.
Whew. Is that your PSA? Are you good?
I think so. I think I covered it. I hope we help somebody.
Yeah.
I hope we help some
so
gerbils.
do I. Christ, do I hope that helps somebody.
I hope there's someone right now holding a chinchilla in one hand and their phone in the other, listening to us, and they look at that chinchilla like, "Not today, friend," and they go find it. God damn it, man! Shove a Furby up your ass. I bet they're all over eBay. That'll do it. They got that beak that moves. I bet that feel good. Little pinchy pinch on the old boy button down there. Fuck, give it a whirl. Hey, I want you to write in and tell us how good that is.
I don't. I'm the one that checks the email. I don't want you to write in. Son of a bitch.
Maybe we need a separate email that we use off like a VPN or like a proxy, because we don't want to get traced to these level, like to the websites these are getting linked to.
I don't need the State Department busting into my apartment, seizing my laptop.
You groggily waking up to a text message of a man slowly sitting on a Furby. All of a sudden, he gets a warm smile on his face and gives you the A-OK symbol, and it cuts to black.
Damn it.
You hear that muffled fucking Furby talk from inside of him.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I would accept that under one condition because of the joke. If he opened his mouth and the Furby got louder.
How did you be in line at Cold Stone? And all of a sudden, the guy in front of you ordering a Founder's favorite, you hear a muffled Furby. I think that's inside. Inside what? Inside him. And he gives you a little Bill Cosby eye roll and a wink.
Fuck.
Aren't I just the worst? As you hear the sound of a Furby fucking imploding inside a man.
Oh, God.
Someone shit out a Furby in the men's room. I can't believe it's happened more than once.
Oh, God.
Holy shit. Being in the stall next to a guy shitting out a Furby.
How far does this go, Nathan?
The vocal chip's always the last to go.
Oh, God. Oh, I'm going to die.
How many pant legs am I gonna ruin on my dress slacks? Fucking waffle stomp a Furby in truck stop men's room. Oh dear, did I say that out loud? As you pick your legs up to pretend like you're not there. How about you just keep that between you and I, friend? I didn't hear nothing. Good. The car is waiting, Mr. Senator. I'll be right there. Mitt Romney's keystering Furbies. Who do I tell? Am I going to get Snowden for this? The real patriots are out there letting the world know. Heads of state. Oh boy.
Oh, fuck.
We really like to horse around on here, don't we, Mom?
We have fun, gang.
We do.
At the end of the day, what we're saying is we support you choosing a child's toy rather than a pet.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're gonna bird dog something, make it a Beanie Baby. Is what we're saying.
Yeah, and I think Marlin, if he gives it some thought, is gonna want to know how it goes. So just send an email. What can it hurt? Probably feels good to get that off your chest.
There's lonely times, Nathan, where I'm just happy to have gotten mail. So
yeah, make a friend.
You're right. Everyone wins.
Yeah. Except that Furby.
Christ on sale. All right. Well, I guess we will talk to some of you next week. I'd imagine that some of you are done with us.
You know what? That's fair. You gave us 30. You gave us 30 episodes worth. And you're like, you know what? I don't need to hear about that anymore. I understand.
Frankly, if you stick it out after this, we love you to death. So.
Yep. Love you to pieces.
All right. Everyone have a good week. Enjoy yourselves. We'll do it again next week.
Bye.